Okay, I want you to picture the internet for a second. Just visualize your average daily experience online. It's loud, right? It's fast. There are pop-ups, autoplay videos, people shouting about politics, influencers trying to sell you supplements. It's a sensory assault.
It's the definition of the attention economy. High chaos, high volume, constant demands on your focus.
Exactly. Now, I want you to contrast that mental image with the subject of our deep dive today. Imagine a video that is practically silent. It is 20 minutes long. There are no quick cuts, no explosions, no background music, just a woman in a t-shirt, a yoga mat, and a cattle dog that looks like he is in a deep, deep coma.
It sounds like the kind of content the YouTube algorithm should absolutely hate. I mean, it breaks every rule of engagement.
And yet this single video, Yoga for Complete Beginners, by the channel Yoga with Adriene, has over 55 million views. It has nearly 800,000 likes. It is a statistical anomaly.
It's a titan. And that's why we're here. We aren't just talking about a workout video today. We are looking at a cultural phenomenon that I think might just explain how we use the modern internet.
Right. And to do that, we've pulled together two very different sources. First, we have the raw transcript of that viral 20-minute session. We're going to break down exactly what she says, move by move, to see how she hooks people. But to keep us honest, we're pairing that with a pretty heavy-hitting critical analysis titled From YouTube Yoga to Plato, a critique of the attention economy.
And that second source is going to be our reality check. Because the mission today is to figure out, is this video a masterclass in empathy and wellness? Or is it what the critics call McMindfulness, just another form of fast food content designed to keep us pacified?
That is the central tension, the difference between feeling good and being good. But let's start with the phenomenon itself. 55 million views. Why her? Why this specific channel?
It's a great question. The source analysis points to a branding philosophy that she adopted pretty early on, I think around 2012 or 2013. It's called Find What Feels Good.
Which, to be honest, sounds a bit like a bumper sticker. Is that really a strategy?
It is if you look at what she was competing against. Think about fitness culture in the early 2010s. What was the vibe?
Oh, it was intense. It was P90X. It was no pain, no gain, shredded abs, shouting instructors, sweat puddles. It was intimidation marketing. The idea was that you are broken and you need to work hard to fix yourself.
Precisely. The industry was built on inadequacy. Adriene went the completely opposite direction. She framed yoga not as rigid discipline, but as, self-expression. The analysis argues she lowered the barrier to entry so much that she effectively created a completely new market.
The blue ocean strategy. Stop fighting for the gym rats and go after the people sitting on their couch eating chips who are terrified of walking into a studio.
Exactly. And speaking of capturing that market, we have to look at the mechanics. Our source breaks down the SEO, the search engine optimization of this specific video. It's engineered to capture intent perfectly.
Look at the title again. Yoga for Complete Beginners. It's incredibly literal.
It's a masterclass in market fit. Complete beginner is a massive search term. But look at the constraints. 20 minutes, no equipment.
That's the friction point. If I have 20 minutes before work and I don't own blocks or straps or a fancy bolster, I'm clicking this one. If the video was 60 minutes and required props, I'm scrolling right past.
But getting the click is easy. Keeping the viewer for 20 minutes, that's the hard part. And this is where our source introduces the concept of the authenticity paradox.
I love this concept. Let's unpack it. Because when you watch the video, it feels accidental. She's in a living room, not a studio.
Okay.
Her hair is in a messy bun. She fumbles a word here and there. It looks like she just hit record on a whim.
But the paradox is that looking this effortless actually takes a lot of strategic effort.
So the messy bun is a lie.
Not a lie, but a choice. The analysis argues that this minimal effort aesthetic is a high-level strategy to tap into the girl next door archetype. Think about it. If she looked like a high-fashion model in a sleek, white void of a studio with perfect lighting and perfect makeup, a huge chunk of her audience would click away.
Because they'd feel judged. It goes right back to that intimidation factor.
Exactly. They'd feel unsafe. By dressing down, by having the messy hair, she creates psychological safety. She signals, I am not here to judge you. I am here to hang out with you. It makes her attainable.
And we cannot talk about the set design without talking about the dog, Benji. He is asleep on the rug for the entire video.
The source calls this visual ASMR.
Is he there for the algorithm, or does she just love her dog?
I'm sure she loves her dog, but functionally, the source notes that the dog creates a benign presence. It triggers a caretaking response in the viewer. It signals domestic safety. In fact, the analysis suggests a significant demographic watches these videos.
Wait, really? Without doing the yoga? People
Like-
just watch it like a TV show.
They watch it for the company. It's the calm in the storm. You turn it on, hear her voice, see the sleeping dog, and your cortisol levels drop. You don't even have to stretch. It's passive co-regulation.
That's actually kind of profound and a little sad. It speaks to how lonely people are. But let's get into the actual content. We have the transcript of the session. How does she communicate with these 55 million people?
The tone is set in the very first 10 seconds. She says, no blocks, no blankets, open mind, open heart.
It's almost like a permission slip. Come as you are.
The source analysis calls it the digital hug. It's built on a concept called parasocial interaction.
Okay, define that for us, because parasocial usually has a negative connotation, like stalkers or obsessed fans.
In this context, it just means a one-sided psychological bond where the viewer feels like they truly know the creator, even though the creator doesn't know them. Adriene is a master at building this. The transcript highlights her use of the direct gaze. She looks right into the lens, not at herself in a monitor. And look at the language. She says, okay, my friends and my new friends.
My new friends. It instantly includes the stranger. It creates an in-group.
And she shares these mundane details to anchor herself in reality. At one point in the transcript, she takes a deep breath and says, it's allergy season here in Austin.
I noticed that. Such a throwaway line. Why does the analyst think that's important?
Because a polished fitness instructor in a high-end production doesn't get allergies. A cyborg doesn't get allergies. A real person gets allergies. It breaks the fourth wall. It signals, I am a biological organism just like you. It lowers your guard. You aren't being instructed, you're being invited.
And the moves themselves, I was reading through the transcript, and she doesn't start with a plank or a sun salutation. She starts with Sukhasana.
Which is just sitting.
Literally just sitting crisscross applesauce.
That's the low friction concept again. If the first move is hard, people feel like failures and they quit. If the first move is sitting, everyone succeeds. Then she moves to Anjali Mudra, hands at the heart, then cat-cow. It's all very, very achievable.
And the cues. She's not saying squeeze your glutes or engage your core immediately. She's saying don't crank yourself into the posture. And my personal favorite line from the video, juicy exhale.
Juicy exhale is brilliant because it focuses on sensation, not performance. It's internal, not external. It asks, how does this feel? Not, how does this look? And remember the line near the end of the transcript. She says, the hardest part is just showing up.
Which validates the viewer just for clicking play. It's very affirming. And here's the pivot. Not everyone thinks this digital hug is a good thing.
No. This is where our second source, the critical analysis, comes in swinging. It introduces the cynical view.
This is the fast food versus fine dining debate.
Correct. The critics argue that this type of YouTube yoga creates a spiritual void.
A void. That seems harsh for a stretching video.
Yeah.
It's just stretching.
Yeah. Well, to the critics, yoga is not just stretching. The argument is that traditional yoga is based on the 8 limbs. Asana, the physical poses, is just one limb. The others include ethics, sensory withdrawal, deep meditation, breath control. The critics argue that YouTube yoga strips all the philosophy away, removes the difficult spiritual work, and just sells the stretching. They call it the Bob Ross effect.
Now, hold on. Everyone loves Bob Ross. I will not stand for Bob Ross slander. How is that an insult?
It's not an insult to Bob's personality, but to the depth of the art. Bob Ross prioritized the joy of painting over technical mastery. His paintings were pleasant, but they weren't, fine art that challenged the viewer or pushed boundaries. The critique here is that Adriene is prioritizing feeling good over the rigors of actual yoga.
So it's McMindfulness. It tastes good, it's easy to consume, but it lacks nutrition.
That's the accusation. That it's eye candy designed to make you feel like you did something spiritual without the actual discipline. Plus, there's a genuine safety concern mentioned in the source. In a studio, a teacher adjusts your spine. They poke you if you're slumping. In a video, if you're doing it wrong, you're just doing it wrong. You might hit a ceiling where you never actually improve because no one is there to correct you.
Okay, so that's the cynical view, and I get it. It's watered down. But is it fair? I mean, fast food might be bad for you, but is gentle yoga actually bad for you, even if it is watered down?
Well, the source material offers a strong counterargument based on hard science. Even fast food yoga has legitimate physiological benefits.
What does the data say?
Neurologically, even these gentle movements increase GABA levels in the brain.
GABA. Give us the quick version of that.
It's a neurotransmitter that acts like the brakes for your brain. It reduces the activity of neurons that trigger anxiety. So when she says calm your nervous system, that isn't just woo-woo speak. The research shows these movements regulate the autonomic nervous system. It shifts you from fight or flight to rest and digest.
So even if it isn't spiritually deep in the ancient sense, it's medically effective.
Exactly. For chronic back pain, for depression, for anxiety, it works. And there's the entry point argument. If you are sedentary, depressed, or intimidated by the gym, you are never going to walk into a hardcore Ashtanga studio.
Right. You're not going to jump from the couch to a 90-minute handstand class.
Adriene provides the bridge. The argument is, isn't it better to do fluffy yoga than no yoga at all?
I think most people would say yes. But our mission today was to go deeper than just the yoga. We want to understand the internet. And the source critique goes into some really heady territory about the attention economy.
It does. It pivots from yoga to the business of status. Think about it. Adriene isn't just a YouTuber. She's the Starbucks of yoga.
Ubiquitous,
Yeah.
consistent, comforting.
Exactly. By providing low-friction content stuff that's easy to do every day, she becomes a daily habit. And once you are a daily habit, you become a fixture in people's lives. But this is where the source brings in the heavy artillery. Theodor Adorno.
I did not expect to see a Frankfurt School philosopher in a deep dive about a yoga video. What is his beef with relaxation?
So Adorno had this concept of the culture industry. He argued that under capitalism, mass-produced culture movies, pop music, and yes, YouTube yoga is just a prolongation of work.
How is relaxing on a mat work? If I'm in child's pose, I am definitely not working.
Adorno would say you are. He argues it's pre-chewed relaxation. It's designed to recharge your battery just enough so you can go back to your job the next day and be productive. It doesn't offer true liberation or deep spiritual insight that might make you question the system. It offers a pacifier, so you remain a compliant worker.
Oof, that is dark. So the argument is that we are too tired for real art or real philosophy, so we just take the easy stuff to numb out, which keeps us on the hamster wheel.
Correct. Adorno believes that real culture should challenge you, maybe even be difficult. But the culture industry serves up comfort food. And that leads to the source's parallel to Plato, specifically Plato's fear of democracy.
Connect those dots for me.
Yeah.
Yoga to democracy.
Plato feared that in a system ruled by the masses, we would choose leaders, or gurus, based on charisma and appetite, not wisdom. He called it the Gilded Guru.
So we choose the teacher who makes us feel good, not the one who challenges us to be better.
Exactly. If the market decides who is successful, the market will always choose the person who says, hey, take it easy, you're doing great, over the person who says, this is going to be painful, but it will transform you. The algorithm favors the pacifier over the teacher.
That explains a lot about the internet, actually, not just fitness. Politics, news, everything. We gravitate toward what validates us.
Which brings us to the attention rebellion. This part of the source material really struck me. It mentions James Williams and the concept of the faulty GPS.
I love this analogy. Break it down.
James Williams argues that modern technology is adversarial to our true goals. Imagine you have a GPS for your life. You type in the destination. I want to achieve mastery, or I want to be at peace. But the GPS keeps rerouting you.
It reroutes you to distraction.
Or eye candy, or outrage, because the GPS, the platform, makes money when you stay on the road, not when you arrive at the destination.
Johann Hari calls this stolen focus, right?
Yes. He argues our focus isn't just lost, it's being fracked, like searching for oil. The algorithm is mining our attention for profit. It wants you to watch the next video and the next. It fundamentally doesn't want you to turn off the screen and meditate in silence for an hour.
Because if I'm meditating in silence, Google can't show me an ad.
Exactly. You are useless to the economy when you are truly at peace.
So here is the ultimate question then. Is watching yoga with Adriene part of the fracking?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it the resistance? Because on one hand, it's a video on YouTube. But on the other hand, she's telling you to breathe and focus.
That is the tension. The source brings in Jenny Odell, who wrote How to Do Nothing. She argues that stepping away from the feed, engaging in a sanctuary of attention, like a gentle yoga video, can be a revolutionary act.
But only if you're actually doing it.
Exactly. If you get on the mat and you breathe and you feel that juicy exhale, you are reclaiming your body from the machine. You are using the tool to regulate yourself.
But if you're just watching Benji sleep while you scroll Twitter with your other hand, Or if you're just doing it to check a box so you can work harder tomorrow.
Then you are being used by the tool. You're just consuming wellness as entertainment. You're falling into Adorno's trap.
It really comes down to intent, doesn't it?
It does, and that's the synthesis here. On one hand, you have the soul-crushing Adorno view that we are trading mastery for comfort, and the internet is turning us into passive babies who can't handle difficulty.
And on the other hand,
you have a lonely person in an apartment in Austin or London or Tokyo. They're stressed, their back hurts, they feel isolated, and maybe they don't have the money for a fancy studio, and they turn on this video.
and for 20 minutes, the digital hug works.
Right, they feel 10% better, they feel seen, their nervous system calms down.
And maybe that 10% is enough to get them through the day. Or maybe it's the first step toward that deeper mastery. You can't master anything if you're too paralyzed by anxiety to start.
We can't dismiss the value of that entry point. Sometimes a digital hug is exactly what a person needs to survive the digital age. It's imperfect, it's maybe a little fast food, but it feeds a hunger.
It's fascinating how much is hidden inside a simple beginner's yoga video. It really is a mirror for where we are right now as a culture.
It reflects our need for connection, our struggle with attention, and our desperate desire for just a little bit of ease in a very loud world.
So here's our final thought for you to chew on today. When you open YouTube or Instagram or TikTok tomorrow, ask yourself a hard question.
Ask yourself, is this content a tool for my well-being? Is it sharpening me, or is it a pacifier?
Are you using it to recharge so you can do great work, or are you just hiding from the difficulty of real life?
Notice why you click. The answer might surprise you.
Thanks for diving deep with us.
See you next time.